Just a wee quick video. I get asked a lot about big bait fishing and the traces that I use for the big bait fishing. Before I talk about the traces, I want to speak about what I would think of as a big bait. Now I'm going to show you a photograph here of a bait that I have obviously frozen. It's a photograph sitting on top of my chest freezer. There's a tape measure for reference, and then there's a picture of the trace above it. To throw a big bait, I use a 12-foot, 3.5 pound Bait Blaster 350. These are made by Dave Lum. I'm going to put a link into the video description at the bottom. Dave Lum, top guy. He's an artist when it comes to making fishing rods, an absolute artist. If you go and speak to him and you buy a fishing rod off him, I guarantee you will be happy with what he sells you. I have never known a pike angler complain about what the guy has sold to them. But that aside, there's no point using a small rod that's undergunned. All you're going to do is break the rod, you're going to snap off, you're not going to be able to throw the bait. Now there are obviously some baits that you can't throw. Some baits are too big to cast, in which case you use a bait boat or you float fish them. But either way, that's an issue that you have to get around, is how to get your bait from the bank to where you're fishing. Don't always think because you're using a big bait you have to throw it 60, 70, 80 metres. You don't have to do that. A lot of the big pike that I've personally caught have been 12 feet from the bank. If you're fishing with the wind into your face, the wind blows all the flotsam and jetsam, and say a fish has died and it's floating in the surface, the wind pushes it across the water, it gets caught into the reeds or the lilies or the vegetation, so the pike will follow the wind. They're not stupid, they'll follow the wind and they'll think, okay, here's an easy meal. Unfortunately, the easy meal on this occasion will have your hooks in it, and bang, you're into a fish of a lifetime. That's the hoping. Your traces are simple. The trace I use, the trace I make, because you're not going to be able to buy these, you're not going to get these commercially available. You have to make your own traces, which you should really be doing anyway, because shop bought stuff 9 out of 10 times tends to be gash, and I wouldn't use it. Starting off normally, you have your 2 trebles. Moving down from that, you have your single. Now I'm going to show you pictures of these hooks and these patterns so that you can go and look at buying them yourself. I use owner hooks. I like owner hooks. They've not let me down. I know the trebles are ST41s, and I can't remember the pattern for the single hook, but I'll show you a photograph of it, and you'll see the photograph and you can go buy your own. From the hook to the swivel, that is 22 inches, gents. There's no point having an 18-inch trace if you're going to throw in a bait that's very, very big. You think about it, if an upper 20 or a 30 picks up your bait and turns it and puts it to his throat, then these are going to be in its mouth. So you're going to be relying on everything from your single hook to your swivel to protect you from getting bit off. 20 inches for me is enough so that if the pike rolls, there's going to be wire around its head. There's not going to be any monos or braids in its mouth, meaning that you're not going to get bit off, meaning that you're not leaving a fish to die slowly with a bait trace in its mouth. That's how I do it. It's working. I've done it. I've done field trials. This is how it's worked for me. I found that a longer trace is better. Okay, you might end up throwing away a bit more wire when it gets kinked up, but wire is cheap. Deal with it. The wire I'm using is AFW. That's American fishing wire. You can get surf strand. You can get the titanium stuff. The wire that I've showed you is bleeding leader. mainly because the bleeding leader was to hand when I decided to make the trace. I have got surf strand in 60 kilos, or 60 pounds even, not kilos. 60 pounds is a good sort of level for a trace of this sort of size. You're using baits that are big, you have to kind of step up everything. See, with the big baits, you don't always have to go to the tackle shops to buy them. Now, I'm sorry, tackle shops, you know I love you, I'm very sorry. You don't always have to go to the tackle shop to get them. You can go to the fish market. Every supermarket out there, like Tesco's and Morrison's, they'll have a fish counter. Go to the fish counter, ask them for mackerel, ask them for herring, tell them not to gut them. You can get relatively big baits for next to no money. There's a local fish market that comes, she's in a van and she travels around west of Northern Ireland. I think she's Donegal based. But that's where I get my big baits from. I can go there and get 20 or 30 big 12-inch to 14-inch mackerel, and it costs literally pennies. They're so cheap. Other baits that work very well are rainbow trout. Now, I'm lucky here where I am because last year there was a big escape from a rainbow trout farm, and the local salmon guys were going crazy because all the rainbow trout were dumped into the salmon rivers. So I have freezers full of rainbow trout. Everything from nice wee perfect 8-inch rainbow trout right up to 16, 17, 18-inch rainbow trout. I didn't have to pay for these because the guys were throwing them up the bank. So instead of throwing them up the bank and leaving them to be rotting and stinking in the place, I put the feelers out on Facebook and said, look guys, put them in a bag, bring them to me, I'll buy you a pint. And I had to go out and buy another freezer. That's how many of them I got. You don't obviously that's not going to be the case for everybody. Not everybody's going to have an escape from a fish farm. But a day on a stocky trout pond, that's not actually very expensive. Although some of the trout fishers I would visit, they're not very expensive. Okay, they're not like your prolific Chew Valleys and Lake of Menteiths. They're commercial fisheries that have a lot of fish dumped in, and you basically catch what you want. Here's another place where you can go to them and say, look, any chance of 20 or 30 big baits? And most of them will say, yeah, sure. You give somebody some money, they'll say, yep, take them with you. Fish farms like that, you'll get brown trout as well. The thing with pellet fed trout, once you've frozen them, they don't last very long once they've defrosted. They're like sardines, their bellies bust. That's just because of their diet of pellets. I don't know what the pellets do to them, but it just makes them very soft. Trout are excellent bait. Mackerel are excellent bait. Herring are excellent bait. If you can get smelt, big smelt are cracking baits. They are awesome. Don't discount big baits like whole lamprey eels as well. Obviously, a whole lamprey eel is not going to weigh, a pound and a half. It's going to be relatively easy cast. But you're still going to use the same sort of traces of what I just showed you. Most of all, go out and try it and enjoy it. If you don't think that you've got the gear to give it a go, then maybe don't try it just yet till you get the gear that you can do it safely. I don't want anyone coming back to me and saying, dickhead, I tried what you said and I smashed up my rod. A, I don't want anyone to break their gear, and B, you don't want me laughing at you. Or you don't want people watching on YouTube laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you because I'm an arsehole, I'm laughing at you because I think it would be funny. Sorry. So that's me, how I use big baits. We haven't talked yet about one of the best big baits for pike at certain times of the year, and that is jack pike. Those traces also work, but that's for another video.